First Watch Now.
What you need to know from the Cochise County Sheriff's Office.
Hosted by Cochise County Public Information Officers Carol Kappas and Grady Butler. First Watch on 92.3 KWCD.
And it's brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative, giving you an inside look into your sheriff's office. I'm Grady Butler, and with me is Carol Kappas, Public Information Officer with the Sheriff's Office, and Sheriff Mark Daniels. Good morning.
Good morning, Cochise County.
Hello, everyone.
All right, new equipment.
I'm just going to say, I walk in this morning, and I can see you all, because there's usually a bunch of equipment between you and Carol and I, and this morning I see everything, and you got this fancy thing. What happened to the old stuff? Did they donate to the Nancy Hauser Museum, or?
No, I think someone had some interest in it, so we let them have it. But it was on its last leg.
Well, the tubes are going out.
Right?
There were tubes anymore. It was an old piece of equipment.
It looks really good. It really does.
It does. It's kind of fancy, and it's more Star Trek than usual.
That's what I was going to say. It just folds right into your whole, futuristic theme there.
And I've pushed all the buttons right so far, so I think we're going to do okay.
Well, we hope they're hearing us.
That's right.
We don't know.
I can hear it in the headphones. We're good to go.
No,
well, you were testing it with that song.
Yes.
You wanted to talk about the
Randy
song.
Hauser.
Yes.
A lot of people forget. And right for the song, Randy Hauser goes, Cochise County, and talks about you guys. But Randy Hauser actually did his video here in Cochise County, 5 years ago, Carol? It was like 5, 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And
we went, and a couple of my old cars were involved in that video, but it was the #1 video in country music. So, again, we appreciate Randy Hauser and coming down here and doing that. And so it's neat that you play that song still.
Yes, and we had to play a little song in between because you had to do a stop this morning. So we'll talk about that a little later, though.
Well, we do. I mean,
you want to do it now?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm coming here, getting ready to, put my mind on, getting ready to get on the radio here, and this guy pulls out in front of me and just floors it, and then he's in and out of traffic and cutting cars off. So, yeah, I was like, okay, that's more important to get on this microphone. But yeah, people, slow down, please, slow down, especially in the morning. You can tell, and that just sparks that road rage.
Was he just late for a date?
He had an appointment, and I won't go into detail there. And he had an appointment to go to, and
so he was late anyway.
Yeah, he was late. There's no doubt about it. But that's what causes bad things, especially in the morning, 6:30 in the morning. I mean, you can't drive like that. And I explained that to him, and we had a discussion and talked about what he won't do again.
Well, and some of the things, just jumping into that, some of the things that you've been dealing with, the department has been dealing with, all public safety has been dealing with, traffic-related issues. But when you talk about that, there was a situation. Well, there's multiple situations you can go into, but there was one specifically last night, and this is pretty dangerous for all public safety. Whether it's local, state, federal, anybody who represents the badge. And so last night, tell us a little bit about what happened, and then we can go into other ones.
Well, last night, one of our deputies in the remote areas of the county, we're rural all around, so that's why I say deputy making a traffic stop is rural, no matter where you're at. But he makes a traffic stop on a vehicle, a truck, gets up. The driver is out of Phoenix, very hinky, very nervous. He gets out. He knew something was wrong. He hears something in the truck. He knew the guy was lying to him. He ends up putting handcuffs on him. And then he goes over to the truck, and he can hear a bunch of stuff in the back. He opens the back door of this cargo truck, and there's 22 illegals in the truck, and they're all camouflaged up. But he could hear them conspiring to get away and more or less bulldog the deputy. And so you got a single deputy out there. You got 22 very desperate, and that's his words when I read the report this morning, and I heard it coming home late last night. And then you got the driver who's also being he was a United States citizen, who's also being very mouthy. And so as he opens the door, they actually kind of surround him. They actually take a front. These illegals take a confrontational front against the deputy. The driver takes off running. And you're probably saying, well, why would we need to do this, and this? Folks, when these happen, these are ebb and flow moving situations. I read the report from the deputy. He did a very, very good job to use his disciplines, his training, and his professionalism to keep safe. He called for backup. He said one of the best things was seeing his fellow deputies show up and Border Patrol show up. So, again, these are bad situations. I know you put it on social media because we're looking for the driver, and people were making the comments, and when I read these comments, I mean, they just kind of put your temperature up a little bit because I don't want to be mean here, but they're ignorant comments. And, I mean, you got an officer out there by himself dealing with 22 illegals that are illegally in this country that don't care about us, and they're going to do anything they can to this deputy. And he heard them conspiring to get him, and then you have people on social media talking BS. So again, I don't want to be too blunt with that, but I guess I was. But the bottom line is, my deputy's fine. We got them all in custody, to include the driver we got. He's in my jail right now. These situations they're escalating. And talking to my fellow sheriffs on the border, and we call them Tier 2 counties, yeah, it's not getting any better. And last night I was coming home, had another pursuit with DPS up in St. David, and I don't know if it was a stolen car or what. In fact, ironically, I got a call from Jennifer from the paper and one of the reporters. In the parking lot to Sierra Vista Herald, there was a stolen car that was used in a smuggling pursuit, and all the camouflage was in the back seat, parked right there in the Sierra Vista Herald parking lot. So it's affecting everybody. It truly is. But the vulnerabilities our communities are dealing with on this border right now is incredible. It's, out of my 37 years, it's probably the highest. And I keep saying this, and I'll say it again this morning. If you see the red and blues, the emergency lights, get out of the way. Seriously, get out of the way.
That vehicle at the Sierra Vista Herald also had a good ding in the back side of it, from what they said. So you don't know what happened. I mean, did the person get the car like that? Did they run into somebody as they were trying to get away? Did they damage property along the way into the businesses? So you really don't know all of those things.
You don't. And that car was involved in a pursuit, from what I've been told on that one. And that's where they abandoned the vehicle right there at the Sierra Vista Herald, ironically enough. And I just done a story with Lita, one of the reporters over there, about the border where we're at. And then she calls me, hey, there's stolen vehicles here. It's a smuggling vehicle. And so, again, it's countywide, it's border-wide right now when it comes to what's going on, and it's tough. It is, because we're seeing the escalation of it, but we're not seeing the end result, and that's where we're pushing real hard.
And also we had some officers save some lives this week in the jail, and also a deputy.
Yes. Sergeant Jeremy Pushold. And then we had detention officer
Officer Keeley's in the jail.
Both of them, in separate incidents, actually provide Narcan to those. Narcan's the reversible drug for the opiates and illicit drugs. And both of them were unresponsive, and they initiated Narcan and brought them both back. So they saved 2 lives. So kudos to both those team members at the sheriff's office. And that's and most people don't see this in the paper or on the radios, where that's an everyday trend right now, where Narcan is being applied. And it goes back to the opiate overdoses. At the port of entry this week, they seized 300 and some thousand pills, fentanyl pills, coming into the country. So kudos to the officers down there at CBP, and they were charged in our jail right now. So again, it just goes back to, as long as it stays open with this border, it's going to get worse. And what is it right now? 270 people a day dying of opiate overdoses in this country. 270 a day. We have a war on drug, folks, and until we recognize it's only going to get worse.
And fentanyl is scary, because you can have such a minuscule amount to come in contact with you, depending on what they make it with, and you don't know what kind of Drano is going into that stuff. So it gets through your skin pretty quickly, and it can even impact our officers. So that's why our alert went out this week from the commander. One of the commanders is that just be aware that this is happening, because you come into contact with it and it's bad.
Oh, it's really bad, and it's amazing the stuff that they come across this border. And you're right, there's no regulation. What they put in that Drano, all the bad stuff. Remember the days with the meth, and man, the whole motel, they make it in their homes, in the motel rooms, making the meth, and it was killing people. Truly was killing people. And this fentanyl is killing people every day. And we got to take a better stance on that. And I say we, all levels of government, to include our federal government.
And you have these situations where people are dying taking these drugs, but it also turns into crime that spills over into a lot of different areas. So on Wednesday evening, they had a drive-by in Purtleville. They're still looking for some suspects in that and investigating that case. But, the shots went into a home, and you have kids, a 9-year-old, young teenager, other people in that house. And it's just very fortunate that none of those people inside the home got killed, because the shots went into the house from the street as they were driving by.
Yeah, there's nothing good about when you start filtering large amounts of drugs into communities, families, and schools, and expect to see something positive out of it. And in Purtleville 2 nights ago, when we had the drive-by, shots going right through the living room window. I mean, you got a family in there. And again, I can't get into big detail about the drive-by, but I can say this much. I mean, it seems like every time we have these violent crimes, look at drugs. Look at drugs. I guarantee there's going to be a nexus there. Somewhere in there, drugs were involved.
The local police academy has kicked up just recently at Cochise College in Douglas.
It is, and we have 5 deputies in the academy. So, and I commend them. They do a very, very good job down there at the academy, and they've actually extended it, the hours to our academy from, I think it was 18 to 21 weeks, mainly because of the added training for use of force and firearms. And this goes back to some of the changes we've seen over the last year and a half when it comes to policing. And that's a mandate by the state. So, yeah, we've added those hours. And, again, and I just give a shout-out to Cochise College, President J.D. Rottweiler and his team, Eric Brooks, for being a good partner. We couldn't do this without them. And so many local communities are setting up their own academies because you can recruit your homegrowns, the ones that grew up here, along with our CTE program, which is our career technical education program in our high schools. It's a nice ebb and flow right into the academy. So, again, it's doing really well.
And we have 5 for the Sheriff's Office, 2 for Sierra Vista Police Department, 3 for Wilcox. They really need help up there, too. 1 for Douglas, and Benson PD has 1. So it's a good local community effort.
It is, and you look at that. That's all people that are going to graduate here in a few months that are going to be working right here in our community. So we community train them, and then they stay in our community. That's the best formula they can have.
And one of the things that we're facing, in addition to personnel shortages, are some of the reasons for personnel shortages includes, people that are off sick.
Yeah, I compare last year to this year, and this has really hit us hard. Now, I think everybody says this is more contagious this year, the new variant, than last year. And I would agree with that. I mean, we have protocol restrictions both in the office setting to include our jail right now. We're getting hit really, really hard in our jail. And I'm not going to go into a lot of details for security reasons, but, yeah, we're on a very skeleton crew there, let me say that.
And, just having to round up different personnel, and everybody's helping out. And it's hitting all of the areas. It's hitting, detention. It's hitting support. It's hitting everywhere. So we just have to make sure we maintain our level of safety and security for our employees and stick to our protocols.
And that's number one. How do we protect our employees? And we had a meeting on Tuesday, my command staff, in regards to setting up contingency plans just for the jail. I mean, what do we do there? And our Wilcox jail is still closed down. And what do we do? And remember, we're under COVID protocols, and people are like, "Well, why don't you just go back to normal?" Well, because liability and vulnerability is a big thing in my jail, both for the inmates and for my officers. So we got to make sure we're following guidelines that are sustainable if we get sued or anything like that. Plus, ultimate to protect everybody involved there. So again, we got a nice contingency plan ready to go if something gets worse down there at the jail when it comes to our staffing levels. But right now, I think we're going to be okay.
And if you have to do something like get fingerprints or any other interaction like that, you just understand, please be patient because you have to make an appointment. And even though you have an appointment, you may have to wait a while depending on what's going on at that time.
And you look at a jail. The jail's a nucleus for our courts, for our law enforcement officer, probation, everybody. And I talked to presiding Superior Court Judge Tim Dickerson the other day on this, some of the Justice Court judges on this the other day, all the police chiefs. So we all work really well together, especially in a situation like we're dealing with our jail with the staffing and the COVID that's now in our jail pretty heavy, that we're all working together. We truly are. But let me just say this on this show, and I told this to the police chiefs and the DPS captain who's going to be on the show today, is if somebody needs to go to jail, we'll always find room for them. We'll never leave a person that's a community threat on the streets that needs to go to jail, and there's cause to put them in jail. So I just want to put that. Somebody's out there going, hey, I don't need to go to jail. They're not going to put me in jail. That's a myth. You will go to jail if you need to go.
There's been Phoenix meetings about human trafficking specifically. Let's talk about those.
Yeah, I was in Phoenix yesterday. The governor was up there. He kicked it off, sat with the governor. But the governor's Office of Youth, Family, and Faith put this together for the McCain Institute. And this is on the Arizona human trafficking. It was a one-day conference. There was a panel. The FBI was on the panel, myself, and the DCS, Child Protective Service director, was on that. And we spoke about the border That was a big topic. What's going on our border? I spoke on that, shared some statistics, both Southwest total and Cochise County, what's going on, and how smuggling relates to human trafficking. Because the difference between human trafficking and smuggling is there's force and lack of consent on trafficking compared to smuggling. If you want to be smuggled, hey, here's money, smuggle me across. Unfortunately, they go hand in hand. Number one, the nexus is the border. As long as the border remains porous like it is right now, that's going to promote that kind of behavior. Number two is these people that are being smuggled across the border are servant to these cartels because they can't afford to pay the total fee. So they go into these communities once they're smuggled to the United States, and they're servant for drugs, sex, trafficking, labor, gangs, whatever it may be. So they go hand in hand. It's a very sad situation. It was a very good day up there, and I appreciate the governor supporting us on that. And there's about 300 people total between virtual and in person that were there, and it was held at ASU West Campus up there. So I learned a few things, and it's always nice to go that when you can learn something too.
And so part of that, you have some photos we're going to be posting on our social media too, so you can see, and then some snippets of what you were actually talking about for this particular class. So you were in Phoenix pretty much all week.
I was. It's been a long way. I was up there again Wednesday too, and one of the things we're doing right now is really trying to address this border issues. I just can't say enough, and we're going to be coming up with these community meetings hopefully in February. We're going to get that out to you where the governor's office will be down here, because you hear the comments, you see the social media where the governor's not doing his job. Well, that's debatable, and I want to make sure the facts are out there, not the opinions. And then if you want to make an opinion after the facts are there, that's up to you. So they said they're going to come down. Brian McIntyre from the county attorney's office and Border Patrol leadership will be at this meeting, but it's to share what's going on the border, what we're seeing. Here's the facts, here's the stats, and here's what we're doing. I think people are going to be pretty impressed with everything we're doing, the partnerships we have with our state, both at the legislative level and Governor Ducey's office, and we're doing some pretty cool things, and that's going to be kicking off here next week, but I don't want to say a whole lot what's going on with that.
Let's talk about your stop of the week.
Stop of the week. Yesterday morning, 6:30 in the morning, we pull out, heading to Phoenix, and all of a sudden there's this car almost hits us, and we didn't see it. I mean, it was dark. At 6:30 in the morning, it's still pretty dark. And so we realized that the car had no lights on at all. And so we're just getting on the interstate, and there's this car behind us with no lights, and it was a dark color vehicle. So we pulled it over, and people were just, and I say this, if you get stopped by law enforcement, just cooperate, truly cooperate. So this person wasn't really happy. But when we walked up and said, listen, we can't see you. You almost hit us, because she was blaming us like we pulled out in front of her. Well, if you can't see it. And so, I didn't have my lights on, I'm sorry. But at first it was aggravated that we had stopped him. But no, turn your lights on. The law states from sunset to sunrise, you got to have your headlights on. You truly do. And it's not what you can see. It's what people can see. If we can't see you, it's a really bad situation. So we addressed that yesterday, and that's our safety message too, is even coming here in the morning where, it's just starting to get light, people, okay, I'm good. You have to have your headlights on. You truly do, because it's a bad situation if people can't see you.
Well, Sheriff Mark Daniels, we thank you for coming and talking to us today.
Thank you, Grady. Thank you, Carol. Everybody have a safe week.
And Carol, who do we have coming in next?
We have Captain Dean Chase from the Arizona Department of Public Safety.
First Watch on KWCD Country, brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative.
It's First Watch now.
Hosted by Public Information Officer Carol Kappas and Grady Butler.
On 92.3 KWCD.
Brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative, giving you an inside look into your sheriff's office. I'm Grady Butler, and with me is Carol Kappas, Public Information Officer with the Sheriff's Office, and our next guest.
Welcome back, Cochise County, and we have Captain Dean Chase from the Arizona Department of Public Safety. Thank you so much for coming in.
Hey, thank you for having me. Good morning.
So we were at a meeting earlier this week, I think, a Zoom meeting, and you were talking about a brand new thing to the Department of Public Safety. So I thought it was really important that maybe everybody in the community got a chance to hear what you were telling us on that meeting about a new thing for your organization.
Absolutely. And again, it is not new to law enforcement, but it's new to our agency. And we've all been outfitted in Cochise County, actually in Graham County and Greenlee County, with the new Axon Body 3 body-worn cameras. And again, it's not new to law enforcement, but it's a project we've been working on for a couple years now. We've been testing testing different camera systems throughout the state because it does present challenges doing things as opposed to a city setting where everything's in one place. We were having to deploy these cameras throughout the state in some very rural areas. And we came up with the Axon to be on top, and as of last week, we all had the training, and we were equipped with the camera. And it's you'll see it. It's a black box that the troopers wear on the front of them. It's right there in your face. I mean, you know that they're there. And the thing we like about these cameras is that they are sound and visual equal to basically to a human, to what a human can see. And we wanted that because there are cameras out there that you can really see some detail from a long ways away. But as we know, a lot of these videos are making it out to the public, and they're reviewing them, and we're subject to public scrutiny. And when the public can see something that the camera can see that the officer can't, it really helps out with us. So that's kind of a great thing about them. And then the other thing is that when we complete the video cameras or the recordings, they upload to a cloud, and they are available to us within minutes of getting those uploaded. Where they go to the cloud-based service is something called evidence.com, and a lot of law enforcement agencies are using them, which actually helps out in the long run, which I can talk about in a minute, as far as sharing and availability to other law enforcement officers to our video footage.
Good. And then when you're doing that, you said you'll obviously see the black box hanging on, the front of the officer's uniform. Hopefully you see it like when you see you guys shopping or maybe standing out by a traffic accident, not up close and personal.
Well, exactly. When you are talking to someone face to face, I mean, it's right there. You can see it's hanging right there in the front, and yeah, absolutely. It's the good thing about them too is that when you are talking to someone, the cameras, if we are doing something and suddenly something happens, and we activate the camera will go back up to 2 minutes before we even activated the recording. So it's basically always buffering, always going. And then when we hit that, it'll come back, and we can review the video from even up to 2 minutes prior to us activating the camera.
And is this being very well received by your officers as well?
It is. They really like it. Personally, I was thinking, hey, do I want everything I'm doing to be recorded, or do I want it all on video, which is required by our officers when they're interacting with someone or on an incident that they are to be filming or videoing. And they like it, and you talk to the officers, and they love it for a bunch of different reasons. One of them is they can well, actually, what I learned last week as a commander, if a trooper is out in, say, east of Wilcox, and they're out there by themselves, and all of a sudden they get involved in an incident, and they hit that camera, I can live stream into that camera and assess the situation, get some resources going, and can see everything that's happening in real time with that trooper. So that's kind of an officer safety issue. It also helps us out. The other thing is for court hearings in court. They easily now can gather information, gather evidence on their incidents, and when you do that and you go into a courtroom or somewhere and you play the video for a jury, or you're in a defense interview and you play that video, it cuts down on a court, makes court a lot easier, because now we're not really trying to as much articulate exactly what we're doing or make the points in conversation about a case. That you just, what did they say, a picture or video is worth 1,000 words, and you play that, and it really does has an influence, and it makes the job easier for officers, which is that they like as well. And it leaves a little room for doubt. The other thing they like about it is the safety aspect of it. These cameras are built in with GPS, so we know where our officers are at all times. Another thing that we notice is that, though it's not a complete deterrent, when people that we're interacting with, we're having contact with, maybe they're not in a great mood because of the situation they're in, for lack of better terms, they often if they see the camera, they know they're being recorded. A lot of times they act better. They know that their actions can be reviewed, and sometimes that means, I've been taught when a suspect looks at an officer, that maybe is contemplating, hey, do I want to harm this officer? Do I want to do some things? They size up and they kind of actually think through it. Can I do it? Is there good officer presence? And will I get away with it? And a lot of times when you see the camera that's kind of a deterrent. So it's another good tool.
And so what are some of the benefits that you're seeing that will be for the community and to our citizens?
So there's a few things, and this does benefit the community. When we see officers with body-worn cameras in the news and so forth, the big talking point on that is officer accountability. And that is true. Where I think we're in a society now where the public expects officers and the incident they're involved in to be recorded, to be available through video evidence. And we've gotten there. But that's just not the only thing. So as far as resolving complaints, more often than not, when there's a complaint comes in and we can review footage, a lot of times, and this is a benefit to the officer too, it shows that the officer did not do what the complaint was about. It was completely different, and now we can even show that to the complainant, saying, hey, this is how it went down, this is what's happening, and it removes any doubt. Sometimes people perceive things wrong when they see it again. They say, oh, okay, I made a mistake, and it resolves the complaints a lot easier. But as far as the community, it can increase community involvement and make the community safer, and one of the ways it does that is that if a citizen, and a lot of times everybody's got a cell phone now, right? Mm-hmm. And everything's getting videoed. Well, now if something happens, say there's an incident that happens and there's a suspect outstanding, we can send a link to that citizen. They can upload their video to that link, and we can have that information in within minutes. So what that means is if there's an outstanding suspect for something, the citizen that videoed that suspect can record it, upload it to our cloud, and then while we're looking for that suspect, we will have actual live video, or not live video footage, but video footage of the suspect, which helps out, along with attempt to locate vehicles and so forth. We can have that in our hands pretty quick. The other thing, for collisions, if someone records a collision, we can take that, they can upload it to the link, and we can put that in a report and have all that information, the recording and the collision actually happening within our report. So really good stuff. And again, we can have information uploaded from several different community members within minutes. Just as soon as we can email them that link and they upload it to the link, we have access to it. So I think if we can include the community in a lot of helping us out, giving us evidence, collecting evidence, which is community-based policing, right, then I think that makes safer communities.
It does. And so you're engaging them, and they're able to do that. Instead, I think one of the biggest things, we just had a situation last night where we have a description of a suspect, 5'6" and brown hair. If you actually have the photo, you know exactly who you're looking for. So that's a great way to involve our community members in law enforcement.
Well, absolutely. And we have frequent flyers. So a lot of times the officers know who they are when they see them. And so, a 5'6", brown hair could be anybody, but when they see the video, they're like, hey, that's John Smith, and we know who he is, we know where he lives, we know where he's going.
Right.
So it is very helpful.
And how do you, just logistically, how is it difficult to turn it on if it's a manual engagement? Like if somebody is at a traffic stop and it doesn't automatically turn on, then somebody starts getting into a little scuffle. Is it problematic to turn it on, or is it pretty easy? Or
not at all. And when you see it, you'll see the big button in the front. And it's
okay.
a double tap of the big button. You can hit it. It's about as, you touch it and you're going to turn it on.
Okay, good.
And then it mounts a pretty strong magnet to the front of our uniform. The one downfall of the magnet, we just found out. Of course, we're learning on this because it's new to us, but one of the troopers was inspecting a truck earlier this week and was underneath that truck. going to Texas, by the way, and got out, finished the inspection, and realized his camera wasn't on the front of his uniform anymore.
Oh no!
And he crawled back under there. It was stuck to the axle by the magnet. So it was kind of funny. So we're like, okay, lesson learned. Be careful when you're crawling around metal because it will attach itself.
Well, we appreciate you coming and talking to us today about your new technology.
Awesome. I appreciate you asking me to come in and talk about it.
That's Dean Chase from DPS. And Carol, who do we have coming in next?
We have Arlene Garcia from Sierra Vista Animal Care and Control.
First Watch on KWCD Country, brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative.
It's First Watch Now.
Hosted by Public Information Officer Carol Kappas and Grady Butler.
On 92.3 KWCD.
Brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative. Giving you an inside look into your sheriff's office. I'm Grady Butler, and with me is Carol Kappas, Public Information Officer with the Sheriff's Office, and our next guest.
Welcome back, Cochise County, and thank you so much, Arlene, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So, Sierra Vista Animal Care and Control. Is that what it's called? Because
Yes.
I wanted to make sure. Okay,
Yes, it is.
That's just a mouthful.
The facility itself is called the Nancy J. Brewer Animal Care Center, but we're the Sierra Vista Animal Care and Control.
And so you have an anniversary coming up.
Yes, so the shelter is turning 14 on February 14. And in honor of that, we are doing an open house on February 12th. And we're calling it Lovable, B-U-L-L, you know, in honor of our pit bulls that we have there, or any other bully breeds for that matter. But it's not just about the pit bulls that day. It's about all the critters that we're going to have available for adoption. Dogs, cats, and sometimes rabbits. We had 3 rabbits recently, and they finally all got adopted. We might be getting more. Who knows? Who knows what other critters? Sometimes we get birdies, lizards, just about anything. Guinea pigs, hamsters, but right now it's going to be dogs and cats since we adopted out the rabbits. We're having adoption specials on that day. We're going to have goodies out for everybody, and we're going to do our Rambo's rummage sale. The rummage sale is going to start at 8 o'clock in the morning, and what that is, for those of you that don't know about our rummage sale, we'll have all sorts of different items that have been donated, or, you know, an overflow of items that we've had. They're mainly pet items, bedding, treats, and toys, just a little bit of everything. You go into our rummage sale area, pick an item, and you give us a donation. It won't have a price tag on it. You just give us what you think that that the item is worth. The last time we did a rummage sale, we actually made over $1,000 that was donated then to the Friends of the Sierra Vista Animal Shelter, and that's what we're hoping to do again during our Lovable open house.
So how many animals do you have to adopt out right now?
Oh my gosh, we have probably about 30 dogs, so we're doing okay. We're not as full as we were a few weeks ago. We have about 30 dogs to adopt out, maybe about 20 cats right now, so we're at a comfortable number.
And so you have pretty good reception from people coming in and getting the animals. So that's a good thing. But you have 30 now, and that leads us into our next section here. You're looking at an expansion coming up.
That's right. About a year ago, this is, well, actually it was earlier 2021, Sue Hersheimer passed away and left us a $1.2 million donation. And at that time, we were already thinking about expanding because we were getting full so frequently and getting so scared about having to euthanize for lack of space. And that's something that we haven't done since 2015. And we don't want to ever have to do that again. To have to euthanize an animal for lack of space is just not an excuse. It's not a good excuse. So so we've been thinking about this expansion for quite some time, and then all of a sudden this donation fell on our lap, and now we are seriously going to move forward with it. We are probably going to start construction this spring. And we're adding approximately 20 kennels. It's not just an expansion, it's also improvements. We're adding cover to our existing kennels, so when the dogs are on the outside portion of the kennels, they have a little roof over their kennel. That's something that they really didn't have right now. So besides the adding some kennels and doing some improvements, we just have a couple of plans that'll also make the flow of the shelter a little better. That way incoming animals don't mix with animals that are trying to be adopted. So yeah, we have quite the plan. I'm really, really excited that this construction is going to hopefully start this spring.
Well, let's talk about how to adopt an animal from your center. Kind of take us from the beginning of I want a dog all the way through the adoption.
Sure. So if you want a dog, you want to get an idea of what we have, go on to petfinder.com, take a look at the pictures that we have available there, dogs, cats, and whatever other critters. You're welcome to give us a call to find out if that critter is still available. But the best thing you could do is just come to 6799 East Highway 90. That's our location. We are open Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Saturdays from 12 to 5. So you come during our open hours, sign in, go take a look. If you see a critter that you're interested in, let us know. If you have any other critters at home, dogs or cats, we ask that they're current on a rabies vaccine and that you bring them to do a meet and greet. You're completely welcome to bring your pet for a meet and greet. We'll make sure that it's a good match, and our adoption fee for dogs is only $75, and for cats it's $50. The rabbits were $25, and that adoption fee includes the sterilization, microchip, rabies vaccination, first set of parvo vaccines for the dogs, kitty combo vaccines for the cats, vet exam, the fecal test. I mean, it's all included. It's a very, very small fee for everything that you're getting. Now, if the critter hasn't been done yet when you're doing the adoption, then we'll schedule an appointment for the critter to go to the vet, and you will pick up from the vet the same day of their appointment. And that's it.
That sounds pretty simple.
It is.
So give us those phone numbers, websites, and address one more time.
So petfinder.com is where you can go to take a look at the critters. Our location is 6799 East Highway 90, and our phone number is 520-458-4151.
And another thing you do for fundraising is you collect aluminum cans, which is a great place to put them.
That's right. So if you've been at the shelter and you see all our recycling bins out there, it's because we accept aluminum cans. And so you can bring them, preferably crushed, but they don't have to be. It's okay. We'll take them even if they're not crushed. As a matter of fact, our one of our animal control officers is transporting aluminum cans as we speak. We load them up in our horse trailer. They get loaded up on our flatbed. We transport them to Tucson, and we get quite a bit of money. And it's been anywhere between $400 and $700 each load. It just depends on if they're crushed or not. So yes, please bring us aluminum cans. That money goes towards the animals or anything that the shelter needs at the time.
We're going to be talking about your event on the radio for the next couple of weeks until it gets here, but remind us one more time about your event.
Yes, the Lovable Open House, February 12th, starting at 10 a.m., the open house, but the rummage sale starts at 8 a.m. We're going to have goodies, adoption specials, and a kissing booth. So that'll be quite fun. We'll have some critters there for you to give love to on that very special day. We're celebrating our anniversary, and when I say our, it's not just the shelter's anniversary, but I started the very same day the shelter opened for the first time, so it's a special day for me too. So that's 14 years of providing love, care, and assistance to the animals in this community.
I just went to petfinder.com. This is so awesome. Like, you can look at all of these amazing dogs and cats, and you can just get all kinds of information on there. Look at that.
I was wondering what you were doing over there. Making little faces. Yeah.
That's right. And we get it up to date as much as we can, as best as we can, as fast as we can. Of course, sometimes we get animals in and they get adopted before we can even put them on Pet Finder. But we rely on a wonderful volunteer. Her name is Ava England, that takes the pictures of our critters at the shelter, and then we're able to put them on Pet Finder.
Oh, that's so cute. And then you have another license plate.
So if you've heard, we try to do almost every month a spay-neuter clinic. We sell vouchers to the community for $20 when we're going to have these clinics, and the $20 covers the sterilization, microchip, and rabies vaccination. And what I wanted to mention is that the reason why we're able to do this for only $20 is because there is a program, and it's the Pet License Program, license plate program. If you see the license plate that has a little dog, a little cat on it, on the bottom it says Pets Enrich Our Lives. That license plate, it costs you $25 a year, and that money goes into a pot. And every year a group of board members get together and they disperse these funds to shelters, rescues, any animal welfare organizations that apply for the grant. We have been receiving for the past several years $10,000 a year from this grant, and we have been awarded the $10,000 again this year. And that is why we are able to provide this spay-neuter assistance to the community at such a low cost. When we run out of funds, the Friends of the Sierra Vista Animal Shelter also helps us with the spay-neutering. But it's really, really important that the community knows that it comes from this license plate. It's only $25 a year. And so by you getting this license plate, you're helping animals in the community get sterilized.
And those are personalized license plates.
So if you want it personalized, it's actually $50 a year. But if you're willing to take it no matter whatever number it comes on it, it's just $25.
Got it. I'm sorry. I thought they were all personalized because yours is so cute that says to adopt.
Yeah, isn't that great? So yeah, personalized. If you want it personalized, it would just be $50 a year, which isn't that much for something so good. You're also welcome to donate to the pet license plate cause through your taxes.
Oh, cool.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's on there. It's on that tax list.
Excellent. And you can get these when you go to DMV or any substation of DMV. You can ask for this plate specifically for your vehicle.
That's right.
And you can even if you have if you're good to go for your license plate, you don't have to just wait to get a new car. You can go get one.
That's right. And just to give you an idea, this past year we dispersed $410,000 from the pet license plate to over 60 organizations.
Wow, that's very good. Yeah. Well, Arlene, we thank you for coming and talking to us today.
Thanks for having me.
That's Arlene from Sierra Vista Animal Care and Control, and we'll be talking about her event coming up on the 10th of February as we get closer.
The 12th.
The 12th. The 12th is coming up? Okay, yeah, the 12th. Thanks for the correction. And, Carol, how do they find us at the Sheriff's Office?
You can reach out at cochise.az.gov/sheriff, which is our webpage. We have all kinds of different links there that you can click on for public information or even to listen to this show in its archive form, which Grady will have uploaded within the next, 2.5? No. Okay, maybe 15 minutes. Our Facebook is Cochise County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Mark J. Daniels, and you have links there that you can hit our Twitter or our Instagram, which we are going to get up and running again.
It's First Watch on KWCD Country, and it's brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative.